Just a few days prior to the second Capricorn full moon, happening mid-July, on July 15th, 2024, Mars and Uranus aligned on demon star Algol, bringing an assassination attempt to presidential candidate Donald Trump. It took the life of an innocent bystander and critically injured 2 others in my home state of Pennsylvania. Why it always has to be Pennsylvania is beyond me. My thoughts and prayers are with you and the families affected by this traumatic event and senseless act of violence. Let's take a moment of silence now. I won't get too detailed in this video because I already have a 20-minute video focused on the Mars-Uranus conjunction that I'll also link here as an end card and in the description box below, where I explore the Mars-Uranus conjunction, the energy of both malefics, the energy of both malefics debilitated in the sign of Taurus, Algol the demon star, its ties to the myth of Perseus and Medusa, and the astrology of both presidential candidates, Joe Biden and Donald Trump. I even predicted a potential act of violence toward Trump due to his Mars in the 12th house, 26 degrees Leo, forming an exact square to the Mars-Uranus conjunction on his midheaven, 26 degrees Taurus, Algol. This Mars-Uranus conjunction carried us into the energy of the second full moon, amplifying themes along the Cancer-Capricorn axis of opposition. Where the second full moon occurs, 29 degrees Capricorn, is precisely where Pluto is headed to deliver one final blow to the economy and leadership as we know it, September to November 2024. Mastering Capricorn energy means learning to be realistic about how much time and energy we can invest into something before burning the candle at both ends and completely fizzling out. I have my natal Saturn, 18 degrees Capricorn, in rulership, where it's really strong, 18 degrees being one of the evil degrees, bringing karma through critical illness, and I can absolutely tell you firsthand, burning the candle at both ends, failing to practice self-care through self-discipline, resting, taking breaks, not being a workaholic, has absolutely led to issues with chronic health. Full moons in Capricorn answer to ruling planet Saturn, which was the only planet to station retrograde in June, and coincided with Neptune retrograde, which happened in early July, July 2nd, 2024, therefore making both planets key planets for both June and July 2024, especially when you consider that Saturn in Pisces is answering to ruling planet Neptune. They're also in a loose operative conjunction, so they'll be working closely together the rest of 2024, 2025, and into 2026. Saturn is Chronos, all about karma, rules, regulations, restrictions, isolation, structure, and boundaries. While Neptune is Poseidon, lord of water and all of its sources, but especially the oceans and the seas, the dream world, the afterlife, and astral realm, underrepresented or vulnerable populations, underdogs, who may not possess the power to defend themselves, including but not limited to children, animals, immigrants, war veterans, the homeless, and those who are addicted to drugs. And it also rules over collective unconscious beliefs. That's why Pisces energy you'll often find in the charts of people who write or perform music. There is no more powerful way to touch souls than through music. Saturn is karma, while Neptune dissolves. Saturn and Capricorn are all about mastery, but first and foremost, they require mastery of the self, and this is done through self-discipline and personal accountability. Self-discipline is an act of self-care. As the South Node travels, now 10 degrees Libra through 0 degrees Libra by January 2025 over the next 6 months, opposite the Aries North Node, traveling through the same degrees but always opposite, grounding down through our self-care and self-discipline and boundaries, Saturn, are going to be increasingly important. This highlights unhealthy patterns like going it alone or hyper-independence because you're actually compensating for feeling incredibly vulnerable. I'll explore more about the South Node in Libra in the aspects chapter of the video. That first Capricorn full moon, answering to Saturn, featured a relatively unaspected Saturn outside of its loose operative conjunction to Neptune, contributing to an overall sense of isolationism, which I'll also get into more later on in the video. Saturn is currently retrograde, 19 degrees Pisces, in a loose operative conjunction to its depositor, Neptune, also in Pisces, but 29 degrees. I'll dive deeper into the significance of this later on in the video, but I want to briefly review some Cancer-Capricorn axis of opposition themes. Moon in Capricorn is ambitious, precise, orderly, determined, and organized. Moon in Capricorn struggles with darker emotions and struggles to reveal its true, deeper emotions. Moon in Capricorn, similar to Moon in Virgo, can be solitary and self-sufficient, which can present as avoidant or workaholic tendencies. Been there, done that. Overcoming complexities within our own emotional natures. Watch for issues with teeth, bones, and joints, especially the knees and the hips. Full moon weakened in the sign of Capricorn answering to Saturn can be likened to having severe trust issues and being emotionally constipated. When the moon is full, she forms an exact 180-degree angle from the sun, from our position on Earth. This is considered an opposition, and it's connected with themes of polarization, dynamic tension, and an overall feeling of being pulled in two seemingly conflicting directions. From this position, the light of the sun, representing the light of our awareness, spotlight of collective energy, fully illuminates the moon, which is associated with our deeper subconscious, unconscious, and intuitive world, or emotional world. And the moon doesn't create the light, it's reflecting the light of the sun. Full moons, therefore, bring clarity and present opportunities for closure as we access new realizations and alternative perspectives. We may be understanding something in a new light that was previously unclear. Full moons bring into the spotlight the dynamic tension created between the axis of opposition, polarization between Capricorn and Cancer energy. So what you're really challenged to do is to find balance between those two signs. They can be considered sister signs. Someone with too much Cancer energy can look to that opposite sign, Capricorn, for stoicism and detachment to help them navigate perhaps an overly sensitive or moody nature. And vice versa. Somebody with too much Capricorn energy, who might be emotionally constipated, can tap into the energies of Cancer, the sensitivity, the empathy, the compassion, and balance these two sides of the self to find greater wholeness and oneness. June's full moon and July's full moon play out along this Cancer-Capricorn axis of opposition. It's also referred to as the career and family axis, because both Cancer and Capricorn, and the houses they rule, the 4th house and the 10th house, are connected with our past, our heritage, our upbringing, and the way we have been programmed or conditioned from our culture, our society, and our family of origin. Often, these patterns of generational karma are passed down directly by those who parented us, and those were passed down to them by those who parented them. And so, the chain goes on. But will you break the chain? Will you be the karmic breaker for your family? Cancer energy is ruled by the moon. Both are connected to our inner child, maternal lineage, and our inner mother archetypes. Cancer and our moon placement shows how we were nurtured, along with Ceres, and in turn, nurture others. While Capricorn and its ruler Saturn has everything to do with our primary disciplinarian figures, our fathers and our bosses, and the adult parts of our psyches, that critical parent voice. The Cancer-Capricorn axis has a lot to do with our ability to emotionally self-regulate and our self-parenting style. Capricorn corresponds to our core conditioning, the beliefs, societal values, thought patterns that we internalized from a young age, and how this has created inner walls or structures that keep us limited and disconnected from our authentic selves. The full moon in Capricorn, therefore, is an opportunity to gain greater awareness of what structures and boundaries need to be dismantled or dissolved, and which structures or boundaries need to instead be rebuilt in their place to support our growth and evolution, as well as our overall emotional well-being. The Cancer-Capricorn axis of opposition correlates to our emotional maturation and how we bridge the gap and create both emotional and material security and safety within our own lives. The full moon in Capricorn, July full moon. The July buck moon, taking greater responsibility for our emotions. The full moon in Capricorn presents an opportunity to reflect on how we emotionally self-regulate and essentially parent ourselves. There's an opportunity here to gain greater awareness and release some of the confines of that conditioning, especially as it relates to emotional self-regulation, vulnerability, insecurities, fears, avoidance patterns, addictions, and workaholic tendencies. The moon is traditionally debilitated in Capricorn, as she is at home in the opposite sign Cancer. So it's an invitation to observe the ways in which we are used to not honoring our emotions, and what messages we might have received from either our culture, the society we're a part of, or our family of origin around emotional expression, vulnerability, which is oftentimes still considered weakness. We'll have an opportunity to face the many clever ways we attempt to avoid or run away from our emotions, or we try to feign being strong when we're actually feeling quite the opposite. The back-to-back Capricorn full moons of June and July 2024 are an invitation and opportunity to practice holding space for your own emotions, while at the same time taking greater personal responsibility for them. Taking greater accountability for our emotions might also mean allowing them to be seen or heard for the first time. If we are used to running, avoiding, suppressing, our healing might require allowing others to see these emotions. You're invited to take the next step in your emotional maturation journey with me by recognizing what is out of balance in your interpersonal relationship and your relationship with your emotional self. Thank you for watching. If you're still with me, you're a real one. Drop your current most used emoji in the comments. If you took anything away from this video, we ask that you like, comment, share the content, and subscribe. If you enjoyed this video, we know that you'll enjoy the full playlist and this additional video. Thank you so much, love you, and see you soon.